this is like something to do with Moses several times asking the Israelis, the Jewish people, to sort of follow the way of God and not to do the contrary. They should follow the will of God and do all that, and remember how he took them out of Egypt and they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells, this chapter 15 verse 27, water, and 70 palm trees today camped there by the waters. They've been sent out of Egypt. They will end up going to Canaan, promised land, and they will end up going around the one particular spot for as long as 400 years or so before they later, when they ended up in Canaan. And even Canaan, we've realized the thing that happened, that there were people dwelling there already. And not even Moses who ended up. It was somehow Joseph or Gideon or somebody had to take them to the promised land. It was Joseph, but Moses never got there because Moses became a bit stubborn or did something which wasn't right, that made God so displeased and prevented him going to the promised land. And that is how somewhere along the line also God fulfilled his promise to Moses by making Moses see him before he died. Even he saw his back before he died. I think we've mentioned that in some of the videos. So Moses somehow saw God, but at the moment when he saw God, he died. He couldn't live because God told him that anybody who sees him will die. Is it Exodus 33 or so? God says that anybody who sees him will not live. And I read that in, I think, one of the Exodus 33. Then I will take away my hand, and so God, 17, Exodus 33 verse 20. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live. His face. That is, if you're able to see God's face, you can't live. You die. But even when he saw his back, anyway, he was meant to die there anyway. But he saw his back and he died there. So whether Jacob and the rest of people, maybe they did not see God's face, but they saw God. They assumed that was God, but they did not see God's face. Maybe Abraham did not see God's face. He saw them, strangers coming in, they covered their face, but they did not see God's face. Why is God hiding his face? Why is God, the Spirit God, when he appears, why does he hide his face among people? He doesn't want anybody to know. Why would God have, hide his face? It's strange. But let's think about it carefully. Why? Ask yourself that question. Why is God hiding his face from us? Yet he expects us to know. We are being told or learned to sort of know, be aware of a devil, and know the devil by signs, and God to know him by signs. Nobody knows God or sees God. And see, when we see God, we will die. Why is God hiding his face? Why should God hide his face anyway? From his own creation. In somewhere Revelation, it is somehow revealed that, and God will now wipe our tears for all the frustration he's put us through and embrace us, and we will be with God forever and live with God. In the book of Revelation, there's a storyline like that. But I see no reason why God hide his face, because he enjoyed the game of keeping us in the dark. Anyway, we keep going on to find out, to figure out all these things. And as we get the proofs and set things out, you will then make your mind up. And you'll probably come up with more questions or more solid base of your faith than I probably would have thought you would. Now, if we go to 16, it says, the God sends quails and manna. When God was providing for some food for the Jewish people in the mount, the desolate land, in that desert somewhere. They request for food because they were angry and they blaming Moses and all that. And they're always going back their word to their own promise, to their own God. In 17, God gives the people water. This is where somehow when Moses begin to make claim for himself, like give credit to himself instead of glorifying God. And God said, you will not see Cain anymore for what you did. It's strange, you know. There's somewhere where the war was going on between the, what do you call it, Amalekites or the Malak. And then Moses had to stand on the mountain, and the Jewish people, before they win, as long as Moses is able to keep his hands up, then the Jewish people are winning the war. Is it necessary? Was that necessary before? Such a sign to be done before they win a war. In this instance, that was what it was. God wanted them to know that he was doing something with Moses, or I don't know. Then Moses kept his hand up as an old man, and when he's tired and he's bringing his hand down, then they are losing the war. But he kept on, you know, he tried his best. The strength in Moses will save the Jewish people. How well that Moses have to keep his hand up and then save the Jew nation, you know. Wow, it could have been done just like that, but anyway, then again, it's another story. And we go to 18, tells you the appointment of judges. You know, people were making requests. Even God was being there with them. Now that Jewish people want to make a request for leaders, not necessarily depending on, you know, a prophet or some other, you know, ways, because maybe they were having their own doubts. But something like that nature is right at once. So we will sort of end with 18 here. And we'll keep continuing. So look out for more of it. In Exodus 18, we'll discover more of Exodus 18 and go on with that. But I'm sure the things that I have said really amount to a lot of wisdom for you to think through and make your right decisions of what is good for you and good for me, what is good for all of us to embrace. I mean, life is worth it if we're able to let it become worth it as it's meant to be. We have that privilege, and we use it. We have to use it. There are more privileges that probably might come as time goes on, but for now, we have to embrace things as it's meant to be. I mean, we're going to joke around all the time. We can't just overlook things and say, oh, it's fine with me, so that's fine. Let's just, let's move on along that line. No. We can't afford to let ourselves be drifted out just for the sake of drifting out. We need real answers and true ways to move on. And I wish the same thing with you, side by side. Not just, side by side. Thank you. Let's go on.